asking people how they're doing and start asking people how they're feeling.
So I gotta make sure I'm watching the news.
I will never waste pain that's offered to me. Nothing is ever wasted.
Everybody that I gotta plan a week gon' be straight. And that we tie that red that you won't hit, so you better not be late.
This is a place of development, and I'm not gonna die here. Dang.
Cause I love it, I don't care about the fame.
Yo, welcome to the Young Vagabond podcast, man, where we navigate the journey of life together through truth and love. I'm your co-host, Bryson.
And I am your co-host, DJ.
Yes, sir. Season 2, episode 4, and we back for more. You feel me?
Dang, episode 4, back for more. Well, hey, y'all, we finna get into it. I'm excited for what we got going on today. Excited who we're ready to reveal. We got our second guest in the building. But before we get to it, man, I want to real quickly remind everyone, if you are watching, please subscribe. If you're listening, please follow. We love y'all. We want to get plugged in with y'all. We want to build a community, so that really helps us out. Whenever y'all follow, it helps y'all out because y'all get to hear about the next episode.
Yes,
Once
sir.
y'all go to all the links in the link tree, click on each and every one of them. Follow the Instagram, follow the TikTok, follow it all. Get ready. Man, we're so excited for what we got going on. We're thankful for our man Travis behind the scenes as
Yes,
always.
sir.
Appreciate Travis. He did awesome with the thumbnails. He's doing awesome with getting all the things handled from a business standpoint. Man, this man is killing it. We appreciate you, Travis. We love you. And we appreciate y'all for continuing to rock with us. We'll continue to get a bunch of love and support. We've been growing crazy. Our Instagram's been blowing up. And that's all because of y'all. And so we're really thankful for everything that y'all doing and just continuing to always start every episode off just showing our absolute gratitude and appreciation towards y'all. The fact that we are where we are now, where we got over 500 followers, still getting at least 50 plays per episode, like that's all crazy to us. And so we're so thankful for each and every one of y'all. And so, man, we excited, man. We're trying to get into it. So let me go ahead and introduce our guest.
Drum roll, please.
Mr. Hayden. Is it Barnett?
Yes, Barnett.
Barnett!
Yes, sir.
Woo! Hayden, how you feeling, man?
Feeling good, feeling great, man.
Feeling great? That's what's up, man.
You're
Excited to be here?
Oh, extremely.
Dude, you don't... I can't hear it. Man, we're happy to have you, man. This man, Hayden, man, let me tell y'all. This man is a killer, bro. Freshman, but you wouldn't know, bro. His wisdom out of this. He got the wisdom of King Solomon. This man, talking to him every time we've had a conversation. I've only known Hayden for since August. So that's like 2 months. No, not even 2 months. A month. No, August, September. 2 months. Known him from 2 months. And it's been an absolute joy every time I get to have a conversation with him. He is so wise. We in the same Bible study and just getting to hear the wisdom that he shared. I mean, he's spoken into my life. Some of the knowledge we be dropping on the pod, bro, be coming from him, bro. Even though I've only known him for 2 months. And so we're just super excited to have you here. So, man, how are you feeling? How was the day? How you been?
I'm just feeling good, man. I had like 4 classes today. One got canceled, so that's always a good day.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But speaking of DJ only knowing me for a month, he thought my girlfriend was my sister.
I did.
I just want to throw that out. That was our first interaction was.
Yeah, I remember.
And he also thought my girlfriend was the one going to college also. So that's the second.
I was like, "You excited for college? Is this your brother?" And she's like, "No, we're dating." I was like, "Oh, you win some, you lose some." It was a little awkward, but hey, we bounced back, and now we're here.
Yes, sir.
Who knew he'd be living in the same hall as me? And that's how we get to know each other. Just randomly happened to be outside in my hallway at the same time as they were walking around. Had a dope conversation, and we've just been here since, man. So,
Hey.
Yeah, Bryson, how are you feeling?
Man, I'm blessed. A little bit stressed, but we
Little
good,
bit
though.
stressed.
We good, though. We good.
Hey, man.
How about you? Well, hold up. Coming up on my 1 year anniversary with my shawty this Sunday.
Hey,
You know what I'm saying?
congratulations, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Man, that's a good man. That's a powerful dude, bro.
Like DJ be saying, baby, I know you watching. You know what I'm saying? I had to bite the lip that one time.
Hit it that one time, bro. Oh my God.
This man, how you feeling, big
Dude,
dog?
I'm feeling good. like you said, it's been a lot, been very, very busy day. Been planning a photo shoot actually, and so yeah, y'all about to hear. Well, actually, y'all already know about it by the time this episode drops. So yeah, this October 28th, mark your calendars.
It's going down.
We're doing a photo shoot with partnership with the Culture Initiative, which y'all gonna hear more about that also as well.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna announce more information on that.
Big things, big things.
Big things. Madness and badness combination. Okay, anyway. Well, I started the episode off like this last time. I kind of want to do it again. So I'm going to ask both of y'all. So I'm going to ask you, Hayden, first. What's one conversation that you had this week that impacted you? And like what kind of did you learn from it?
All right. I'm just trying to narrow down. All right. Well, so I went back home this weekend and yeah, it was Sunday. So yeah, this week I went and got lunch with two of my good friends back in South in DeSoto County. Shout out Matthew. Shout out Connor.
Yes, sir.
Shout them out, man.
But like, we just had some really intentional conversation. We talked about some stuff. Like they asked me about college. Matthew just got into a relationship. He was asking me stuff, talking stuff. Like they're doing good. I'm glad. Sadly they're both probably gonna go to Ole Miss.
Oh,
so like,
gosh darn.
Bless
that's where I have to drop them.
Yeah.
So
after that.
But no, they're great conversations with them. I'm excited to see how the Lord works.
Yeah.
Connor, the Lord's been working in him a lot, and Matthew. I know crazy stuff happening in them. So having that conversation, just seeing the growth in people,
Yeah.
especially only being gone for like 2 months, 'cause I haven't seen them since I've left.
Yeah.
And like having those intentional conversations with them and understanding like how much they've grown is just something beautiful to see.
That's good.
Yes, sir.
Dude, I love that. I think that was one of the biggest. I remember my friend Cam. Shout out Cam. Shout him out. He had called me while I was in college and was telling me about like all these things that the Lord was doing in his life. And I'd known him through all high school, and he wasn't like a heathen child or anything like that. But just it was the first time in his life that his relationship with the Lord was that important to him. And hearing about it, it was just like so dope because it's kind of like you get to see how even those moments when you were walking in obedience and you felt like some of the people who you cared most about just weren't paying attention or paying no mind, they're seeing that. And I think that's the lesson that we can really apply to our lives is that people are watching. Even when you don't think people are watching you. And especially when you are living a life that is where you're holding yourself to a standard, people are watching you to see if you're going to only hold up to that standard when you're in the light or when you're not going to hold up to it when you think nobody's watching. And they're also going to watch the fruit of your life. Most of the times, anytime I have a conversation opens up about talking about Jesus or talking about things of that nature, it is always usually, hey, DJ, I see you doing these things even when nobody else is doing them. I see you staying sober even when everybody else is around you is drunk at a party. I see you being respectful when you talk about women, even though you're around a bunch of people who aren't. Why is that? And then you get to learn. And so continuing to be obedient, it's not just for you, it's for another person. You may be the catalyst to somebody else's testimony. I just had to put that out there.
Hey, I like that.
But Bryson, what about you? What's one conversation you've had this week that you feel like really impacted you?
So I'm probably finna get hate from all the competitors out there, but I'm finna give a participation trophy out here. I got 2 top tier conversations that I had, bro. They came neck and neck. One was with my homie Levi, one of my best friends back home, man. Shout out Levi. We just were able to catch up after a long time of not being able to talk, being busy, things like that. And he was just able to encourage me, speak life into me. I was able to do the same to him. And then talking to Stuart this past week about scheduling, because like I've been gassed lately, bro, like tired, been stretching myself thin. Like he pointed out to me, I spent 7 out of 6. I did like 7 things of corporate worship in like a 6-day span. And instead of like focusing on my personal worship with the Lord and just realizing that I can't stretch myself too thin, got to focus in on a few things. So shout out Stuart, bro. That man's top tier.
Shout out Stuart for real, man. Man, well, that's so good, bro. Well, I love that. Like you said, just like how you touched on, we can sometimes get so caught up in this corporate, like I like you talking about corporate worship versus personal worship. And if we're not, it kind of goes back to the thing that's a cliche that we've heard a lot, where you can't pour out of an empty cup.
Yeah.
And if you're not filling yourself up, you are actually doing other people a disservice because you're offering out of lack instead of out of abundance. And when you offer out of lack, you're not the only person affected by that lack. You're affecting other people. And so always being intentional about building off of that. And so I love that question because, and I think I want to ask it every time because one thing I love about this pod and what it's shown me is that like there is wisdom out of every conversation. There's wisdom out of like there's two lessons that like we've learned from and I think that's really beautiful. And so yeah, man, I'm ready for this topic, man. I'm ready to get into it, ready to hear from our guest, what he has to share.
Yes, sir.
So Hayden, I want to ask you, like, so what brought you here today? Like walk us through a little bit of your story of how you're here today. You know.
All right. Well, I just want to start off by saying like I grew up going to a Christian school. Like there's a lot of stuff in the background.
Where are you
like,
from?
Oh yeah, I'm from South Haven, Mississippi.
Yes, sir.
I'm on the state border. So
really?
If you want to know where I really am close to is Memphis, around 30 minutes away. So
from Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah,
that man could tiptoe to Tennessee if he wanted to. Like it's that close.
I know.
Wow.
I know all this stuff. I see. Like all those, I know the place where the rappers die.
Wow.
Okay.
He's there, bro.
I'm there. I've been there.
In Memphis.
But
This man.
yeah, I just grew up going to a Christian school, and like so, as I've grown and matured, I've like experienced a lot of like loneliness and stuff, and like I understand like what it's like to be alone in certain situations. I like reflect on my past. Like as a little kid, I had a lot of memories. I enjoyed my childhood a lot, but like I had a lot of memories of like just doing things I enjoyed, but just alone. And I feel like that's helped me a lot because like most people that know me now say I'm extroverted.
Yeah.
So like, but like I've grown up like a very like I always wanted to be the center of attention, but like at home. But like if I was in a group setting, it wasn't a thing. But I grew up going to Christian school, and I was always kind of known as like the sheltered kid.
Yeah.
Like and like the Christian kid, and so. Like, you know, going to ninth grade, I hated that. Like, I hated being known as that kid.
Yeah.
I was also like a band kid and like all these different things. So people, I showed, quick off topic, I showed DJ my stuff from middle school and he laughed. So there's a reason I struggled socially at some points.
Yeah.
But,
that haircut was crazy, I ain't gonna lie.
but,
This man.
I told man he looked like he trade Yu-Gi-Oh cards back in middle school.
And I did. But we grow, we move. But like, so like I was like, I had a bunch of classes of people like that I wouldn't normally talk to, and started kind of like try to change myself. And I realized like how being the Christian kid wasn't like the cool thing to do.
Yeah.
And I wasn't like, it was a very like legalist type of thing. I wasn't like it wasn't like relational. It was like legalistic. So like I kind of just dropped it. Like I did not want anything to do with Christianity in my life. Like I hated it. Like I genuinely.
Really, yeah.
And like.
And it's because like, do you attribute that to like the childhood of being lonely and that was kind of the reason why you kind of attached that to.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that. I just think like it wasn't cool, and like I don't know, it was really weird because I went to church camp, had that church camp high thing that everyone talks about, but like then I went to like was like for like a month or two I was in it, and I was a super, as I said, super legalist type of like ideas, and it wasn't a healthy thing. But like then I kind of just dropped it. I didn't want anything to do with it for like a good, I think I would say probably the start of like October to July of my freshman year. So that was also during 2020.
Yeah.
So like there's a lot of stuff going on, and like I just did not want anything to do with it. I still went to church and stuff because like I had friends from my school that went to church.
Right.
And I was trying to find people. Like no matter where I went, I still felt like in middle school I had my friends, but like I also like in COVID they all lived in the same neighborhood, so like I didn't have it. So I would try like at school, but before it closed down, I would try to be friends with people who were like seem as cool, but like I realized just didn't really care about me. And like then I didn't talk to them after COVID started, and then I started hanging out with other people that were just kind of like those people, but they went to a different school. Yeah. And like, which they're a lot nicer than the people in my school, but and I still talk to them every now and then when I see them. But like, it's just I had that emptiness. Like I wanted to find a way to fulfill it. I was trying to fulfill need for friends, but like not having friends.
Yeah.
So like not having any true genuine people to open up about. Like I would seriously like get so sad at night. Like I would cry a lot, being like lonely and just sad. And like I would think, there's one night I remember specifically, and like I've reflected on this recently. Is like I was sitting in my bed, I was so sad. I was like, but I have a loving family who provides for me a lot of great things, and I've been provided for. But like, why do I still feel empty? That was like the big thing.
Yeah, dude. No, you just said, I think like a lot of times we misconstrue like circumstance for like fulfillment. Like we think that circumstance and fulfillment are tied. Like, I mean, there's so many times where it's like, if I can just get to this thing, if I can just get this degree, get this car, get this whatever, I'll finally find what I've been looking for. But it's like, no. Like, even when things are going well, like, that's not where purpose is. Like, you're the only thing that can fulfill you is purpose, like, and knowing your purpose and knowing your true self. And so when we think that circumstances are tied and that we kind of live in this false reality, and we're racing at the wrong thing. We're running the wrong marathon because we're going to get there. And then, like, how many times do we see, like, really wealthy people, and they're like, man, I thought this is what I wanted, but, like, it's not worth it. And then you get confused because you're, like, kind of like what you're saying, like, I got everything that I was going for. I got all these, awesome material things. Why do I still feel empty? And I think it's because we try and tie circumstance to fulfillment, and that's not, like, those are not the same things.
Yeah. And if you know me, you know that like one of my favorite books in the Bible is Ecclesiastes. And about 2 years ago, I was listening to this podcast, and this man was talking about how he had lost his brother tragically, had got a bad phone call, and he was walking through the process of grief. And during that process of grief, he opened up the book of Ecclesiastes, and the first line says, "Vanity of vanity, all things are vanity," right? So you get this from a guy who's at the mountaintop. He's got all the women, all the riches. He's the wisest man to ever live. Freaking trillionaire, right?
Yeah.
He got everything you could ever ask for and more. And he's sitting here saying vanities of vanities. And the guy pointed out in the podcast, he said, if depression isn't circumstantial, then my grief doesn't have to be circumstantial as well. So basically saying no matter where I'm at, I can still experience joy. I can still experience depression. I can experience whatever feeling it is, no matter my circumstance, because my circumstances don't dictate my feelings.
Yeah, that's good, bro. Well, shoot, like I know, kind of interrupted you, so you can.
No, you're all good. But
I
like,
had to say something on that. We'll keep going.
All right, so like, but like you think like you have all these things, like people would kill for these things. And like part like me, like I was like, why can't why don't I feel like fulfillment from it? And like now I know like it was Jesus. And like it's so crazy. So like I went to the beach with my family, and I would go out at night, like, and I would see like the like beach parties and stuff, and like I'm not gonna lie, those are like some of the most lame like functions or whatever you want to call it, like known to man. But like I remember I would sit out on like the things that hold the beach chairs or whatever, and I would look at the ocean, and like I just like looked at like just how beautiful it was, and it just started to bring me back. And like I was just so full of anxiety and like just depression, just like I was just not wanting to be alive at this point. Like I never like self-harmed or anything, but like I just had points where I was just like, I just don't want to be here anymore. And like, and then like, it was so crazy. Like I was on TikTok and like I started, like I like did not like anything Christian or anything, but like it just blew up. Like it just randomly one day blew up with like Christian stuff, and it started making me think. And I don't remember the dude's name. He was pretty popular, but I think it was Jacob Cohn or whatever that dude's name is.
Shout out Jacob.
But like he made a video. And he talked about like how like people like feel like you lost control of your life, and you feel like you need Jesus to take the wheel back. And like that's just what I felt. I felt like I had no control over what I was doing. Couldn't go out to see things. Couldn't do things I wanted to do. Couldn't see the people I kind of considered friends. And like, but then like I started praying, and like that next like day I was like on fire. Like I would read like 4 or 5 chapters in my New King James Version Bible, but I could not understand a word that was going on. Like I had the passion, but I didn't have the wisdom and the understanding yet.
For sure.
So like I was really like realizing my need for it. And like now like I've been thinking about this. It's so crazy when like you bring up like the podcast like topic is like your why. And like it's been brought up to me like 20 times in like the last 3 weeks. It's crazy how God works and stuff like this. And like I think of like the reason I'm still breathing, like the reason I'm still like alive here today,
Yeah.
because I've had, and like even after I was saved, I still had like some struggles with mental health and stuff like that. And like I seeked help, and like it worked a lot, and I'm super thankful for what the Lord has done with me. But like I just think like if it wasn't for Christ, I wouldn't be breathing.
Dang, man. And I think it's so powerful that like I want to speak on this because I think it's so interesting. God spoke to you through TikTok. Like
Everyone knows what goes down on TikTok.
right, like TikTok, man, there's so many things that be not of God on TikTok, but the fact that like God spoke to you. And so I almost want to take this, like I want to speak to like the Christian creative or just the creative who's trying to push out a good message. Like, let this be a testimony of the value of what you're doing. Yeah. Like the value of your art, the value of your content, the value of your creativity is worth more than you know. I know for us, when running this podcast and hearing how people have been impacted by it, like that is valuable. And like God spoke to you through that person, bro. And like that's so powerful because a lot of times, I had a conversation with a person about this today. A lot of times, especially in the church, we kind of see this not undervaluing of art and undervaluing of creativity and undervaluing of things that have to do with just, being creative. And especially when it comes to social media and people being like, well, if you're making, like, you can't be a Christian influencer because you're making it about yourself. And like, there is value in using your gifting, using your ability to communicate to push out a message of the gospel, and like people can be impacted that. And so if you're a person who's been thinking about, man, I kind of want to start their podcast, I kind of want to, start making more, Christian TikToks, Christian reels, or just TikToks and reels that promote a good message, like do it, bro, because you don't know. There may be a Hayden out there. There may be a DJ out there. There may be somebody out there who's waiting on you to walk in obedience and let your words inspire them. And so I just kind of want to speak on that too. But not only that, I kind of want you to unpack more, kind of like you kind of mentioned it, this topic of, what we're kind of talking about today is your why. But how do you think coming to and having that moment with God, I know you kind of talked on like, then you sought help. Like, how do you think God really inspired you to start taking matters into your own hand and doing stuff like seeking help for mental health and or reaching out and becoming more extroverted? Because I know when we talked beforehand, you talked about how you become more of an extroverted person. Like, kind of walk me through that.
So like when I was like little, I don't know, I've been like really thinking about like the past and like stuff like that. And like, so to start off stuff, like I was in like, so at my school we had a reach, and it wasn't like special education. It was more like a thing, more catered to like kids with like ADHD, ADD, stuff like that. I don't remember why I was in it, but I was in it, and like, so I'd be in a smaller class. And so it was like, they told my parents like I'd either be held back or do that, and they decided to do that. But like I was in a smaller class most of the time, so I didn't really get to meet people in my grade. Like unless like we'd go with like one of the bigger classes and do stuff with them. But like I felt like it just a disconnect. I had like some friends, but it was never like a long lasting like friendship. And like I was thinking about, I was like, it's like my true friendships. Like I have like some in high school, but like I became more social as I've grown older. Just like the more I realized, like especially with Christ, like learning that just don't care like what people think, and not like the way like you're not like the way you're like, I don't care what anybody thinks, I'm just a loner. But like more like if you have a conversation and somebody just doesn't understand you, like it's just like, okay, it's their loss.
Yeah.
Like you're like, I'm somebody who like when I'm in a like relationship with somebody, I want to put like in a friendship or something, like I want to put everything I have into it. I want to be there for that person when they need help, be that person they need to talk to, because I understand what it's like to feel like you don't have anybody to talk to. So I feel like that's really like helped me. And like as a TikTok stuff, it was so weird how God worked in that, because like it literally felt like I was having a one-on-one conversation with this dude on a screen, and it's like it was like, and I couldn't find the TikTok after. I've never found it again. And it's like the craziest thing. It's like God just knew what I needed to hear and He put it there. Yeah. And like this helped me get to talk to like kids younger than me. Like I helped with a middle school boys small group all throughout their middle school years, and they're all freshmen now.
Yeah.
And so like I talked to them like at our youth camp and stuff. And I've been texting them trying to check up on them because you know, high school's hard.
Yeah.
Like like my freshman year sucked, and I'm like, I'm here to help y'all. Like I want to experience. Like I want to show you I want to use my experiences to help y'all and not have the same thing. And it's crazy what the Lord's been doing in their lives.
Yeah. And you said something, bro, like using your experience to help others. Like that's so powerful, bro. Like
It is.
Bryson, he kind of talked about this on our the first episode of the second season about like you can be the exit sign for somebody else's life. Like there's pitfalls that I've fallen into that because of my experience now I get to help other brothers walk past it. Like I can be like, hey, don't walk right over there. Like it's shaky ground right there. I know it looks appealing, but it's not worth it, bro. Yeah. And so that's like every moment and every experience can be valuable if you let it be. Like you can be bitter about things that happen to you or things that experience that you walk through that you're not happy about, or you can use it to be a benefit to somebody else because it's self-focused when we're bitter. Like we have to adopt this mindset of like, I didn't deserve that. And maybe you didn't, maybe you did not deserve to walk through that, but now you can be an exit sign, be a guide for someone else for why, and basically help somebody else avoid the pitfalls and the mistakes that you made, or avoid the negative experience that you had to go through the wisdom that you now have looking back. And like I thank God for, like I was telling Bryson and Verge when we were having this conversation on Sunday, like I thank God that I have a Bryson and a Verge for my college experience because it's allowed me to get to a place faster than they were able to get because I had their wisdom to help guide me. And it wasn't me trying to figure it out on your own. Sometimes we're meant to be the trailblazers of trials, but we get to be the people who help others after the fact. Like we sometimes are the people that God, because he knows that we're capable of it, he's able to take us through it, that we trailblaze through somebody else's trial. And from there we get to be an assistant and be a guide to helping them get to a farther place, because ultimately that's what it's about. When we have this selfless mindset, it's about helping elevate the next person.
Yeah, famous Christian street poet Lecrae once said, don't get bitter, get better. I'm working on switching those letters. Like your obedience can help somebody obtain freedom.
That's good. Your obedience can help somebody else obtain freedom.
Like I had sent this reel to Travis the other day. Well, it was earlier today. It was talking about how a lot of times when we hear the testimony start off, oh, I grew up in church, or I grew up in a Christian home, we be like, oh man, it's just another one of those Christian kids, right? We tend to negate those testimonies. But the guy that was speaking, he reframed the mindset. He was like, the fact that you grew up in a Christian home or you grew up in a church is a testament to the fact that the Lord's faithful in this last 2 generations. And the fact that somebody chose to walk in purpose, like you said, somebody chose to live for Christ, somebody chose to deny their flesh. And it's a big thing to make that choice, because you never know how your choice could impact or influence somebody else.
Yeah.
Snap.
Like our obedience isn't about us.
It's not.
Yeah. That's so good, bro. And I think that really leads into kind of this concept of purpose that we kind of really wanted to touch on, because that's what purpose is. It is obedience. I believe it's obedience to the Lord. Like when there's the verse Matthew 6:33, but seek first the kingdom of righteousness and all these things will be added unto you. I think that is really understanding what purpose is, because we talked about this yesterday in our life group that we had, that the enemy tries to sell us things that we already have. Like God is Jehovah Jireh. He is enough. So we already have everything that we're going to need provided for us and in abundance. But the enemy tries to sell us through greed that we have to hoard it all. And we have to get your money up, cut everybody off, only focus on yourself, be greedy with everything you have, because I got it out the mud. You got to do it too. That having that mindset. God's already promised us to have fulfilling relationships, whether it be romantic or through friendships. But the enemy tries to sell us lust in the sense that say, you got to go get it yourself. You got to manipulate this girl so you can get something out of her yourself. You got to get this pleasure for yourself, because what God's offering is not good enough. But what he's doing is he's selling us a worse version of something that we already have. And like we talked about it in the sense of like a used car. Like if you ever shop, like don't go through a dealership and you just buy a car off of somebody, that you playing a dangerous game. Because especially if it's a handshake deal, you give him the money and then the car don't work and he gone. Well, like the car is like, that's your car. Like there's no getting out of it. You can't sue him for a new car. You can't do nothing like that. And that's what the enemy does. I'm chilling in my 2018 Toyota Corolla. He shows up with this Cadillac and he's like, yo, this Cadillac way better than what God got. And God's already promised me a Cadillac. He just said, you got to wait 5 years and I'm going to get you this Cadillac. But instead I say, oh, well, I can get it now, word. And then the enemy's like, yeah, you just got to, feed your flesh. You just got to not listen to the Lord on this thing. You got to take my deal and deny God's. And so you go like, okay, God, well, I don't really want your Cadillac anymore because you're going to take too long. So I'm going to go with the enemy and see what he got. And then y'all shake hands. You give him your soul, because that's the deal that he wants. That's where he's trying to come from. You get in the Cadillac and then that you, it's not working. But he gone. And that's what when we sign up for sin and we sign up to say, you know what, I can come up with a better way or what I believe I can get from doing it on my own way or listening to the enemy is better than what God can get for us. What we're doing is we are buying a worse version of something that's already been promised to us.
Choosing counterfeit gifts over the calling. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Counterfeit gifts over the calling.
That's good. But like, bro, like purpose, bro, like it's such a huge thing because like you said, when we deny our calling and we go out and we try and chase these things that are worse than our calling, we find ourselves in a situation like what you talked about where like, yo, I got everything. Like some people would kill for the situation I'm in. Why am I still unhappy? And like my question is like, so like what does it feel like when you know you found your purpose? Like in y'all's own life, like what has it felt like?
You got it, bro.
All right. So like it's just something. It's like one of those hardest feelings to like explain is like just like the overwhelming sense of peace. And like sometimes like I still don't really like know my exact purpose, but like I feel like the big thing I've been trying to do is like I'm here where God needs me right in this moment.
Yeah.
This exact moment is where I need to be. That's all I need to worry about.
Yeah.
He says in scripture that tomorrow has enough worries for itself.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't know where I'm gonna be tomorrow, but I know where I am right now. And that's where God needs me to be. That's one thing I've been thinking a lot about. Is like, it's like when I start worrying about it, I'm like, where am I right now? That's all that matters.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, bro. Like something I kind of try to keep in the back of my brain is be where your feet are, and I think that's a big thing that we should all carry when it comes to purpose is be where your feet are, because there's always something we can do. No matter what we're doing, what we're called to do, where we are in the moment, we can always honor the Lord. Because it says in scripture, like, whatever you do, work heartily. As for the Lord, it's not for man. So, like, I can open that door with purpose. I can hold that door open with a smile. I can tell you, hey, have a blessed day with purpose. I can walk in class, sit next to a student, smile, ask them how's day going with purpose. I can do all of these small, minute things with purpose because all they're doing is planting seeds. Because purpose plants seeds. That's basically what we're doing is we're going through life planting seeds.
And like back to like your car analogy, you think about like maybe you don't need a Cadillac in this area, and this where you are at right now, you don't need the Cadillac.
Yeah.
If you get the Cadillac, you're gonna wreck it,
dude.
And like so,
or you might block your reach.
Because like
now you in a Cadillac, so you think you better than everybody else, and that Toyota Corolla was keeping you grounded, and so now the person that you needed to be speaking to, that you needed to be, guiding on the right path, they're like, oh, I can't get behind him. He got a Cadillac. So I'm going to go over to here. And then they end up falling into that same pitfall that you could have helped them avoid. But because you wanted to skip out on the season that God had you in to take a counterfeit gift, now not only, once again, are you affecting yourself and you getting something counterfeit, but you are now causing a potential area where now the enemy can get another foothold into another person's life.
Exactly.
Because like Yeah, it's like a thing. Like it's just a big thing like that. It's I had a thought.
You good, bro? You got it. You got it.
So yeah, like you you may have as like I said, like what like you need to be like where you are right now. That's what will lead you to that Cadillac.
Yeah.
But if you leave that right now, if you leave that and go to the Cadillac, you're missing out on like 40 different things. Because God, the big thing may be the Cadillac, but you don't know the little blessings. You don't know the relationships.
Yeah.
You don't know maybe you could get something nicer than a Cadillac.
Yeah.
Cadillac may be the halfway point. You may be looking at the halfway point because God has a final point.
Dude.
Hey, bro, and that is scripture. Ecclesiastes 3:11. He has made everything beautiful in his time. He has also set eternity in a human heart. Yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. We try to figure out the whole plan, but that's all in God's mind. That's all in his way. His thoughts are higher than ours. Like, we can't see the bigger picture, but we know that this life is bigger than us.
Yeah.
So we got to live like that 24/7.
And like, how do y'all? I'm sorry, the Texas came out of me, y'all. But how do y'all like practice that practically? Because I think sometimes, because I know in my life, especially when I'm walking through seasons where it's tough. Like part of my testimony is walking through COVID and the period where I had a difficult relationship with my whole family. I was really angry and bitter, dealing with a lot of depression and all things like that. But it was like I knew mentally, like I understood that, okay, God is using this for a purpose. Like I got to walk through this for the bigger blessing. And the bigger blessing came, and I can look back now, but at that moment, like, you're not feeling that way. You're not going, well, I know everything's going to come in a time. Like it sucks. Like it sucks. And so my question is like, how do y'all practically keep yourselves grounded in moments where what the enemy's trying to sell to you, that Cadillac is looking really, really good?
It's hard. like it's super easy to say, but like there's probably like a lot of times where I'm like, I want the Cadillac. I take the keys like as fast, but like sometimes you just gotta like sit and like I don't think before I do a lot. Yeah. So like I just pray like one of my big prayers is like praying that God just works in me. And, like he uses me and like so like I don't have to think about it. The Lord has put in my heart what to do and like just backing yourself on scripture, stuff like that. Yeah. And like I always try to remember because like we always talk bad about the Israelites, but we are them because like we so easily like we're like God provides, and then something happens. We're like, oh, I want to go back to Egypt. Yeah. And it's like that's true. You can't do that. You can't go back to Egypt. Yeah. Like I was reading, I think, 1 Corinthians, and like and Paul talked about it, and like I put in all caps in my thing, don't go back to Egypt. Yeah. Because it's like it's so easy. Yeah. Because like you're in that time where like you think about like what you used to have, but like. But you don't know it, like, because they were getting the promised land, right? But like they're in the desert right now, right? And they're thinking about, well, like it wasn't good, but like we had homes, we had work, right? Yeah. But like they just weren't like we have such a narrow mindset on this stuff, and it's like it's so easy to fall into because like as y'all always talk about instant gratification, it's like we're so surrounded where we're just like snap a finger, you get whatever you want. And it's just the type of thing. It's like. Patience is hard to come by these days. Yeah. And like I like you said something, bro. Like when God promises something to us through his spirit and it doesn't come in the time that we're thinking it should come, we go back to the things that are tangible. And so we start like we can always rationalize the enemy. Like we can always rationalize what the enemy's offering. Well, back then, like when I was, I still had that secret porn addiction. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't affecting me that much. And I'm really struggling right now. Like I'm having a hard time in life. I just need something to take the edge off. Like it's not that big of a deal. Man, back then, like when I was, I was messing around with this girl for a little bit. It wasn't that crazy. Like we try and rationalize what the enemy is saying to us. And I like how you put it, like we go back to the past of like, man, at least I had this. Like whenever at least is coming into your vocabulary, you're settling. Like you're settling if you're saying, well, at least I had this back then, because at least is the bare minimum. Least is as low as it can possibly go. Yeah. And so when we're living a life of at least I can get this. At least,
I may not be fully walking in all the Lord has for me, but at least I went to church on Sunday. At least I'm doing this. What we're doing is we are missing out on the full blessing of what we can do, what we can receive from the Lord, because we're focused on, well, at least it was like this. At least I'm doing this part. And we can't live a lifestyle like that because we're missing out on the full purpose of our lives. And we wonder why, man, I don't feel fulfilled. I want to find the meaning of my life. I want to find all these things. But are you living a life of at least? Because if you are, you're never going to feel the full purpose. It's always going to be the at least version of your purpose.
Yeah. And that's so true. And like going back to that point where you said, at least I had this, at least I had that. You didn't have it, it had you. Because think about Egypt. The Israelites didn't have Egypt.
Yeah.
That wasn't their territory. They were in bondage.
Right.
You didn't have that sin. That sin had you in bondage. It literally says in scripture, we were slaves to sin.
Yeah.
So that sin, that thing that had you chained down, you were in bondage. You didn't have it, it had you.
Yeah.
That's why you were so unfulfilled. That's why you were still looking for purpose. That's why when you leave it, you're like, dang, something's missing. Yeah, it's missing because the thing that you were using to cover up a gunshot wound with the Band-Aid is not there anymore.
Bar after bar after bar after bar.
Homie spit right there, bro. He said, you didn't have it, it had you, bro.
I think the trying to cover a gunshot with a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's what we do when we chase after the things that are not of God. Whenever we're trying to fulfill ourselves, whether it's just trying to chase the bag, trying to chase a girlfriend or a boyfriend, or trying to chase anything that's not the Lord, what we're doing is we're providing a faulty antidote to the poison that is in our hearts.
Yeah. And I mean, you got to think about it. Like I just said, like written in scripture, it says he has set eternity in the human heart, right? All of these things we're using to cover up and cope, they're momentary things. They last for a moment. That sin lasts for about 5 minutes. That sin lasts for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. But after those 15 minutes are over with, what's next?
Yeah.
I got to go back. I got to get another 15 minutes to get another sin high. You know what I'm saying? But like when we walk in purpose, that's an eternal thing.
Yeah.
That thing goes beyond this moment. It goes beyond just my flesh, but it goes beyond the earth. You know what I'm saying? But like we get so temporarily focused that like we end up missing out on purpose because like, oh man, I gotta have that 15 minutes. If I get that 15 minutes, my 24 hours set.
Yeah.
But now if you take that 15 minutes applied to your purpose, your life set. You see what I'm saying? Your eternity set.
Bryson dropping dropping the heat, bro. No, but like you said, that 15 minutes on sin may get you through the 24 hours, but that 15 minutes on purpose will get you through eternity. Like we focus on the present, we forget eternity. And that's what I think that's really it. Once again, it's easier said than done, but that's really what it's about, bro. Like that's how you remain steadfast during the season where it's tough. It's having a mindset of eternity, knowing that like, yeah, I could go back to this. Yeah, I could run to this, but how is this going to affect the eternity? And then it goes back to that delayed gratification mindset, because eternity is a lot longer than 24 hours. It's a whole lot longer. And we are literally selling our future selves short every time that we make a present decision of focusing only on what we satisfy ourselves. So we're being selfish to ourselves in a way, because we're not focused on, bro, I could live a life of purpose, live a life of true fulfillment, or I could get this temporary fulfillment for these next 24 hours. And we're saying, nah, that's a future DJ problem. Like, I'm not going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on what I want right now. And then we deal with the consequences of it later, and we come back, and like I said, we go like, man, why do I feel like this? Why am I not finding fulfillment? But if we're not building towards eternity in the moment, we'll never reach it.
Yeah. It's kind of like spilled juice. If you spill juice on the floor, you get it up that moment, you can get over with a towel. You let it sit for a minute, it becomes sticky, it becomes ingrained into the ground. So it takes more work to get it out. Yeah. So the more that you linger on that sin, the more that you wait to prune that stuff out of your life, the longer it'll take to get rid of it. The more effort it'll take to get rid of that scratch, to get rid of that stain, to get rid of that mark. And that's why we have to be future focused now. Because if we're not, then we're going to end up, like you said, missing out on purpose.
Yeah. Dude, that's so good. And I think for me, one thing that I've been doing that's like practical is like literally kind of like how you put it, like when you reset your mindset, like remembering that like just reminding yourself of God's promises for you. Like I think it's so important to do that, bro. Like you have to remind yourself what God says about you. God says who you are and what He's promised to do for you. Because if you don't, then Egypt starts to look right. That Cadillac starts to look right. That 2018 Toyota that you drive in, you're like, man, forget this, man. I can get this Cadillac right now. And like you can get a version of the Cadillac right now, but it will always be a version where you're selling yourself short and where it's a distorted, lesser version of what God had for you anyway. Bro, that's so good. Man, and I don't know. I just like, people always are chasing after this. Like, what's the meaning of life? And like, that's a question that people really wrestle with. But like, bro, like, it's an easy answer for me, bro. It's loving God and loving people. And I think even me as a believer, like my meaning of a life looks different from your meaning of life. And that's okay, but it's still all under this diagram of what the parameters of what God defines our purpose as. But the fact that I can come up with an answer like that is because I've been chasing after my purpose for so long that I begin to understand it. And like you said, I don't know every step, and that's okay. That's one thing I've had to learn recently in my life is like, it's okay that I don't know step 1 through 20. I just got to know step 1. And if I take the steps forward, I find fulfillment in knowing that I'm going to reach step 20. But people are living lives where they're just taking steps in random direction. They're walking in the dark, but what God does is He gives us a flashlight so we know exactly where we need to hit.
I think about, like, you talk about like what He's promised. I always try to think about what He's done already.
Yes, sir.
Because like that's the thing about the Israelites in Egypt. It's like God did 10 plagues, did split the sea, provided food. Now, was it the food they wanted? No, but He provided it.
Right.
And like, it's just like, and like, we don't even think, like, we don't think about that. Like you talk about like the 2018, like, or the Corolla. It's like, God got you the Corolla. He got you that. He provided that for you. You could be driving the 1995
Cutlass Supreme.
500,000 miles on it. But He provided that.
That junk coughing when it crank up. Hey, no disrespect to nobody, Cardo, bro.
I know somebody just got mad.
Nah, bro.
Somebody click
comment right now.
Nah, bro.
My 1995 Corolla has 600,000 miles.
And thank you very much, bro. But no, that's so good. I like how you put that.
Ain't nothing wrong with it but the carburetor. Cause I know you have fixed. I fixed for 220. I usually do 250, but I do 220 for you.
For you,
That's the devil. That's the devil.
Yeah,
That's it.
Right there, bro.
He's in there. He's like, you know, I could like that the Cadillac breaks down. He's like, I got you. Just do this real quick. No, it'll be back. It'll work fine.
Yeah.
Just do this. Just go over there.
Right.
Talk to them.
And you're so focused on the brokenness in that season, the brokenness of that car, that you forget, yo, God got me this Cadillac and He promised me something better. Why am I even entertaining this? And I think that's really that's a huge part that messes with our purpose, is when we entertain alternatives. Like when we are over here daydreaming about, like I recently had to, I've been struggling with that because I had to stop doing that when it came to just lust. Because I would be like, lust is not just a action thing, but it's a heart thing. And I would be like, man, bro, I could really be out here. I could be out here in these streets. And it's like, why am I even entertaining the possibility of sin? Because what it starts out is entertainment of that alternative. And then all of a sudden you find yourself in this situation where you're at a crossroad that you should have never been at. Like it should never even been a choice, but because you've been entertaining it, now it's become a choice. And so when we listen to the enemy, we start entertaining things, we start to forget everything behind us and in front of us. Because God's already done all these things behind us, and He's gonna do even more in front of us, but we're so focused on the middle part of it that we forget everything. And it's like, bro, all you got to do is make it through the middle just a little while longer, because what you have next is so much greater than any crossroad, any left turn or right turn that you could take. It's going to lead you to a worse destination than if you just continue on straight.
There's a reason it's called the long and narrow.
Yeah.
Not the short and wide.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
and it's not full of twisties and turnsies. It's straight shot. And I think that's so dope because like literally like I live life with so much peace.
Yeah.
Like man, bro, this summer, difficult summer. We had a lot of different things. And there were moments where the peace would get shaken up, but it never crumbled because I knew no matter what, my path is still there. My path is still straight. My favorite verse of all time is Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. Like, bro, God straightens your paths. He makes your purpose plain when you choose to walk in obedience to what he has for you. And like, my question just kind of becomes like, have you tried Jesus? Like to people, like literally right now, you've tried everything else. You've lived for yourself. You went to all the parties. You talked to all the girls and the guys. You've had all the drinks. You've done all the things. You got lit. You had so much fun, but then you walk back to your room and you feel empty. And so my question is, have you tried Jesus? You looked, you tried meditating. You tried the crystals. You tried all of it. You tried doing your own spirituality. You tried it all, but have you tried Jesus? Like you tried finding friends after friends after friends, and every year it's a new year, new me, new year, new friends. But have you tried Jesus? Because the fun that you want, God can offer it. The good time that you're looking for, God can offer it. The purpose that you're desiring, God can offer it. The community that you want, God can offer it. The boyfriend or girlfriend, man, the wife or husband that you want, God got you on it. Have you tried Jesus? And that's just really what I want to say, because like we live our lives looking for something that Jesus has already promised us. And the biggest lie of the enemy is that we got to go find it ourselves. But it's already been found for us because it was already ours to begin with.
Yep.
Like I think about Adam and Eve. The enemy offered to them to be like God. He said, hey, if you eat from this, if you disobey God, you can be like him. But they forgot they are already made in the image of God, bro. They were already like him, but still the enemy lied to them and sold them a lesser version of what was already promised to them. Yeah. And from there on, now we live in this broken world from that. And the enemy's tactics don't change. So he's still out here pulling the same trick that he was pulling before. And so we have to always adopt this mindset is that what God has for us is truly better. That's it for me, man.
Hey, man. Good word, my brother. Good word.
Well, shoot, man. We get ready to wrap up. Is there anything, Hayden, you want to say to the people as we get ready to close? We got a couple more minutes. We can hit on something else.
I don't know. I always think about like you ever think about like God watching you make those decisions? Like he's sitting there in heaven. He's like he's like in Adam and Eve. He knew they were gonna do it. Like he watched, but like he still let him do it because of free will. But like think about that. Just like God watches you. The God of the universe is watching you. The King, the Almighty King of the universe is watching you.
I would even go even farther and say he's there.
Yeah, he's there with you because you're never alone. And it's just like it's just such a crazy thing to think about. Cause like then you like rethink it. It's like there's stuff you wouldn't do. Like if your mom was with you all day, you would act a different way.
Right.
Like you're still gonna be yourself. Yeah. But like there's gonna be some things you say.
Right.
Like there's gonna be some things you change how you say, change how you act. But like but you have the Almighty King. You like. No, like if you're afraid to like say something from your mom, you say it in front of the King every day.
Damn. Sheesh.
Dude.
Sheesh.
That's like, I didn't even think of it like that, bro. Like, that really is that's a mindset changer right there. Like if we walked our lives out as if, because he is, but as if God is with us through every decision that we're making, how much closer to purpose will we all be? Like how much closer to the things that he wanted to give us in the first place will we all be? Will we be up at city limits over there acting a plumb fool? Will we be, you know what I'm saying, cussing like a sailor talking bad about someone behind their back, being disrespectful and not honoring that person, would we be, out here trying things and doing things that we know we have no business doing? Like, will we be doing those things? But like, not only what are the things we wouldn't be doing, but what are the things we would be doing if the Almighty King of the universe was with us right now? Would we be more likely to open up that Bible? Will we be more likely to treat other people with kindness and love? Like, it goes both ways. Like, we can live. Drop the Coke bottle, man. That's nothing but the enemy. Anyway, we can live life for ourselves, thinking that it's just for us, or we can live life knowing that we're doing it ultimately in service to the Lord. And when we live it that way, that's how we live closer to purpose.
Yeah.
All we are is a hammer. Like there's some I was thinking about like the podcast, like what I want to talk about, like what's got me here. And like I was thinking about like the stuff I've accomplished, and I'm like, without God, like I wouldn't have done any of it. Yeah. And like I was trying to like figure out like confidence versus like ego. It's like, because you can be confident like God has brought me here, or you can say I pushed and got here. You see like the difference? Because like when you say God got me here, it's like in John 10:11, I'm the good shepherd, for I'm the good shepherd, I take care of my sheep. Yeah. He like God shepherded you there. But if you try to say I pushed, I built myself, I'm self-made, think about the mindset change there. Yeah. And how much more selfishly do you live when you have that mindset? Yeah. Because like you go ahead. Well, like I was thinking, like I've had like some Christian leadership positions at my school, and like it was actually a very humbling thing. It's like when like you're known as like the chaplain, like like you get that, like you get like when you mess up, and like you get that, like, and like so like you gotta understand, like you gotta be humbled, and you gotta be like, it's not me doing this. I didn't get here because I'm not saving these people. All I am is the hammer that God is using, like pushing the nail. Like when we see ourselves as the steward and not the owner, we live life with a lot more humility and a lot more purpose. Because that's one thing I've been learning recently. Like this influence that God has blessed me with, it's not my influence. Like I've had to change the verbiage. I'm not influential. I am stewarding some influence that God's given me. Like anything that I do, I'm not a good communicator. I'm stewarding the communicating talent that the Lord has blessed me with. And when you live life with that understanding and that perspective, it keeps you from feeling like you did it yourself. Because even not only is that prideful, but it's also pressuring. Because now you got to live with I got to keep up the standard. But if it's not your standard to begin with, it's his standard. Then all you got to know, all I got to do is do the checklist, make sure the boss gave me this to do today, so I'm going to make sure I steward this and make sure I do this. And that is so much of a simple life to live. Like one thing, I love my boss, but one thing I hate is when my boss gives me a task and they just leave it up for me to figure it out. I'm like, no, I don't want to figure it out. You tell me what to do so I can just do it the way that you want it to be done. Because if I try to figure it out myself, it's so much more stressful. I may be able to conjure up something, but 9 times out of 10, it's not as good as if I had just been given directions on how to do it in the first place. And so that is what the Lord offers to us. And what the enemy wants to say is, no, but you could do it your own. But it's not only protects us from pride, but it protects us from that pressure of having to do it ourselves.
Yeah. So true.
Well, man, we're ready to close out because I can do we can close out right now. You got anything else you want to add?
Trying to think. Give me a second.
Hey, man, I'll give you a second. While you're thinking, bro, I got to shout out
oh my
SB. SB, right? No, not SB. Hold on. It's not OB either because it's Olive Branch. Hold on. We're gonna look it up. We're gonna see. Shout out. Yep, SB, bro. Sarah Brooke, man. Shout her out. She like came in here, asked what we were doing. I was like, hey, we're on a podcast. And then she was like, dude, that's so cool. And then she was like, let me follow the podcast. And so she followed the podcast. So shout out SB. She got a 2-letter nickname. And we all know that the people who have 2-letter nicknames are the best. So
okay.
you know,
My girlfriend has a 2-letter nickname.
dude,
So
your girlfriend is valid.
shout out Ivy Grace.
Shout out her. AB. Shout out all of it, man.
It's AG.
AG. I don't know what Abby base. I don't know what I'm doing, man. I'm tired. It's 11 o'clock at night. We're
the Young Vagabonds.
Yeah, no. I got an old settler brain. Hey, man. Well, I do got one thing that I do also want to add. That we've had a lot of people talk about, hey, how can I become a guest on the podcast? And so we're excited to announce that starting the release of this episode, there will be a form going live that you can fill out that form to be a guest on the pod. Yes, and basically how it'll work is it'll be it's set up where it's a what's the word? A queue. That's the word I'm looking for. It's a queue spot. But because this is our podcast, we can move anyone up and down the queue as we please. But if you do fill out that, you will eventually make it onto the podcast. If you're just not gonna talk about something stupid. Like I appreciate you, but if you're gonna talk about bacon, egg, and cheese for an hour and a half,
bacon, egg, cheese,
we're gonna have to skip out on you. I'm sorry. We'll help you start your own podcast where you can talk about that for as long as you want. But yes, so filling that out. It'll be live. It'll be on our link tree. We'll post about it too when we get closer to the time. So in case you didn't make it to the 61-minute mark, you'll be all right. But hey, shout out to you if you're here right now. Like shout out you for real. Because you didn't have to be, but you're here. And you should feel special about yourself. But yeah, that phone will be going live and you can come be a guest on the pod. We can have a conversation just like we did here. Because like I said, I believe that out of every conversation, if you let it can have wisdom that comes out of it. But yeah, man. Hey, what you want to say?
Y'all can't imagine the sea of people I had to fight through to get on this podcast.
Dude, he's the second. That's pretty special, man. Chosen to be.
Oh, whoa.
Not the chosen, but a chosen. He was chosen. But anyways,
that's why he's the GOAT.
MVP.
But anyways, man. As we get ready to close, man, I just once again thank y'all, everyone who has watched and has made it this far. We love y'all. We're continuing to grow. We keep saying we got some cool things down the pipeline, but we actually do now. Like it is getting closer and closer. Yes, Young Vagabond is now officially an LLC.
Yeah.
So we are one step closer to setting up a business and selling merchandise, man. It's about to be so cool. I can't tell you the drop date yet because we still got to finalize a couple of details. But, man, when y'all see this stuff, y'all going to be like, take my money. And I'm going to be like, I'm going to take your money. And, we're going to tithe it. We're going to invest back. We're going to get better mics. We're going to do all these things. Man, this podcast is going to be clean cut.
Yes,
just
sir.
y'all wait. So, hey, when the merch come out, y'all buy some merch. And y'all support the pod, We'll probably also do like a Patreon and stuff like that as well. So, yeah, man, that's coming up. We're getting close. We love y'all so much. Thankful for what y'all doing. Thank y'all for continuing to rock with us. Shout out Travis, as always. Shout him out. Shout out SB. Shout out AG. Shout out DJ. Shout out BR. Shout out what's your last? TW. Shout them all out.
This man.
We about to get out of here. Bryson, what do we say?
Before we say that, I just wanted to say, look, y'all are chosen, y'all are loved, y'all are called, and y'all are seen by God. Look, y'all be blessed, don't stress, do less, and let God take care of the rest. We out.
Yeah, I need a bag. Como se dice? I make a banger, they got it on replay. Why they talking about he say, she say? Probably gon' slide in there, yeah, on the freeway. Then I make a bag, then I blow it, no cheesecake. Then I gon' sell everything.